Lee randomly gifted me $2 during my live stream last night. It was
Live. We are live,
Oh,
okay?
nice.
Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back
live.
to Beer Analysis 101. Your host, Maxwell Starr. It's a bring your own beer edition, of course, where we're doing holiday beers. And first, let's go through who we have with us, starting with Paul at PA Brew News. How's it going tonight?
Hi, good. I got a beer here for the season of the reason. This is from Lost Abbey. I do. I have a beer here, right here. It's got gnomes on it, all over it.
Lost Abbey.
And this is from Lost Abbey. Yep. And this is Noel de Abbey, a holiday brown ale, coming in at 8.5%. This is from 2019. So a little bit of age on this one. 8.5% alcohol by volume, and they are from San Marcos, California. And here we go.
Yeah,
let's do it. It's a nice 750 milliliter bottle.
I had a beer from them once. It was Last Testament or Quad or something.
That's a good one. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Paul. Let's go over to Redeard. How you doing, Red?
What be going down? I am good. How are you?
I'm not doing too bad.
Good.
What you got with you?
Kind of.
A Nilo Bar Porter.
Oh, wow.
Dan's masturbating.
Muscatog. Oh.
See the size of the can.
Wow.
What the
fuck?
That
is a big can.
How big of a can is that?
568 mil.
Damn.
Ooh.
9%. It's massive.
Carrie's gonna have a good time.
I now know what beer I want to try.
And it's Muskoka in collaboration with Vancouver Island Brewing or something like that.
Is that an LCBO release?
It is.
We've had that here before, Scott.
I think it was $7 ish for this can. So
I'd pay it.
Seems pretty reasonable for a
$7
in one can.
That'd be something where
again, it's 9% and the can's huge, so it seems like a pretty decent value for money.
I'd pay $7
All right.
for that. Look at that. Ooh. Does it smell like the Nanaimo bars?
That smells, yeah, honestly. Chocolate, coconut, kind of cream.
All right. Yeah, I've had that before. I mean, it's like one of the only Muskoka beers I would say, yeah, I'd pay that much for it. All right, so thank you, Carrie. Let's go on to Scott. Hey, Scott, which moose did you bring tonight?
Hi. Why would you?
First of all, how you doing anyway? Yeah, how's life in the Scott? Now you have your power back and all that.
Yes, very good.
How's life being able to take a dump again?
Exactly.
Yes. Now that the power back,
running water.
Now that the power's back on, I can run the water tank and flush the toilets. We had a little bit of a
day.
I would even consider that hurricane strength weather. It's just we're out of hurricane season.
It gusts up to 100, right?
Yeah. It was strong enough that it blew a branch off a tree and chipped my windshield in 3 places.
Jesus.
Not so happy. And why would you make such a bold prediction to say I brought a Moosehead product? I could be not bringing a Moosehead product.
I was just an educated guess.
Well,
considering the Moosehead lot,
because you're a pretty educated man.
I am curious which one though, because I know that they got like 3 of them right now, don't they?
They have 4 new things on tap.
Yeah.
Only 2 are winter / Christmassy. One kind of, but not really. Like one's an orange thing, but it didn't go well. But today, I brought Candy Cane Lager.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Candy Cane Lager. So is that in a crowler or is that? Growler. Going old school. You gonna drink that whole thing tonight, are you?
Exactly.
It's a growler. You basically have to, or they'll like flat.
Like 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's a lager, so it's not going to be high ABV. So what's the big deal?
Yeah.
It's a.
I would be more
5.6
worried
ABV.
about the flavor of the candy
it's a-
cane. Exactly, so low ABV.
5.6 is strong beer.
It is a strong lager.
Oh, it's not. Absolutely not. These
it's
are
not.
6.
There's
Yeah.
there's a company that makes it like a 7% lager. I can't think of the brewery.
This company makes a 14% lager.
There's lots.
Yeah, but no, they're like it's one of their cold beers. I think Underground Brewery in Kirkland Lake or something. I think maybe.
Can't you get like Labatt Maximum Ice, which is like 7 or 8%?
I was thinking Samichelaus or something. That's a Doppelbock, isn't it?
Santa Claus makes that. Yeah, that's 14 or 15. No, that's
That's a big boy.
And that's a Christmas beer.
what is that? That they have.
It is a Christmas beer.
They make a Schwarzbier too.
Mm. All right.
So this
So,
one
yeah.
here in the
I have the
brewery,
Schwarzbier.
they will dip your glass in.
Okay.
They will dip your glass in frosting and sprinkle crushed candy canes around the rim.
Interesting.
Aw, that's so cute.
Interesting.
Anyway,
And what are the other?
no,
what
it
are the
isn't-
other two? They
it
got
isn't
that.
a strong lager.
They got that barley wine. They got a sparkling IPA, and there was something else. That orange one, I think you talked about.
Yeah,
no,
so they
I've noticed
have
the barley wine.
they have an orange flavored thing. I tried the other day. It was okay. They have that sparkling IPA. I took a 6-pack of that home, and it was okay. They're going to do a mix with that sparkling IPA. They're going to do a mix with that and cranberry to do a cranberry sparkle IPA for New Year's.
Okay.
And then they have the fruitcake quad.
Your fruitcake.
No,
And that's what I'll probably end up bringing next week.
All right. Cool. All right. Thank you,
Spoiler.
Scott. Let's go over to Greg, and I'll do the same thing to him. Which GLB did you bring today?
Wouldn't you like to know, Nick? Wouldn't
I
you like
would
to know?
like to know.
First of all, I just want to say hello, Nick. Tonight I am filled with big Nick energy. I'm glad I'm not filled with any other thing that rhymes with Nick. And then who do we have tonight? So tonight we have Chloe the
Chloe.
Marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
Bella's not here because she's sleeping with my wife, that traitor.
Oh.
But we do have. You probably can't see; it's too dark. But
bike?
Layla's somewhere there on the floor.
I just see a bike.
There is a bike that I need to sell. And then there's Arnold is over there on the couch. And that's
Is that
it
your
for the
hybrid
crew
over there
today.
or something?
That's the hybrid. It's
Oh,
I
didn't
sold
realize
my
you still had
trainer, Nick. I was using it for my trainer. I sold my trainer. So
Oh,
now
you
I need
sold
to sell.
you sold the trainer itself because you weren't using
I
it.
sold the trainer itself and the lift thing on it. So I got rid of that. Now I'm gonna get rid of that bike because I have no use for it. But I haven't gotten around to it yet. So that's my life story. But anyways, in terms
Why
of what
would you call someone a prick? I mean, big prick energy. That doesn't make any sense.
Big jet
You know what?
energy.
No, he just wants big
Yeah,
Nick's big dick.
you know what, Scott? Yeah, I have to make up for your lack of potty mouth. So
Greg's glad
There you
he
go.
doesn't,
So,
he doesn't have a click in him.
I don't think Greg answered which one he's got for a beer.
I did not.
Yeah.
We're talking about other exciting things. But anyways, now that we've gotten to know each other as best friends, I have brought a beer that I haven't had before because they only released it for the first time. Great Lakes Festive Porter. So this is one of they always release a few beers that are for charity, so a dollar goes to the Daily Bread Food Bank. I got this through their advent calendar, so I'm not sure if the dollar actually went to the Daily Bread Food Bank, but
Maybe.
we'll see.
We'll just
So it is.
Greg's drilling through all the loopholes to make sure he doesn't donate to the food bank. I like it.
I do everything I can. Festive Porter is 7.2%, and it is with coffee, cherry, vanilla, and cinnamon. So it sounds interesting. Could be okay, could be awful, but we're going to find out. $1 from each can of the exclusive Festive Porter will be donated to Daily Bread Food Bank to support vital food programs across the GTA. Thank you for joining the fight. Remember a long time ago when I had aspirations to go into the police, I did some volunteer work for the Daily Bread Food Bank. Yes, I know, shocking. I did some work for somebody.
You did volunteer work for somebody? That's the shocking part right there.
Well, I needed their letter of reference for police applications. So I did it selfishly.
Yeah, I
I
was
didn't
gonna
do it
say
because
he
I
volunteers
wanted
his
to help
dick quite
people.
often.
Funny thing about that is, so they have a big problem with. I mean, the people that go there are poor, obviously, because you're going there to a food bank. So they had a major issue of people stealing anything that wasn't nailed down, including toilet paper. So part of my job as the desk greeter was when somebody had to go use the bathroom, would be like handing out squares of toilet paper because they couldn't just leave the toilet paper there because people would just steal all that shit.
What?
No, not shit.
Handing out
Shit
squares of toilet paper? Just buy the square?
Squares, but I wasn't handing out squares. You just gave a whole whack load. Like, what? I've been like, you're a big guy and you're waddling. It looks like you got to take a massive dump, so here, have half the roll.
Yeah, that would be it.
He needed to fill. Greg needed to fill out his.
You got a stick too.
Chits. No, his chits for community service was what he needed.
Exactly.
And so he handed out shit tickets.
Poop tickets.
To pay off his tickets.
There we go. Yeah, I was handing out shit tickets.
To pay off his tickets.
They're like, hey, do you want the stuff we don't use back? No, it's yours, buddy. You keep it.
All right. So, thank you, Greg. And it's actually my turn to talk. Yay.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Greg. So, nobody's going to ask me which trailway I bought.
Which trailway did you bring, Nick?
I got a can of. Can you guess it? It's huge on holidays. Huge on holiday.
Ooh.
IPA with spruce tips. 6.5%
ABV.
Is it 6.5 or 6.6? 6.6. Well. Yeah, so I think this is the second year the Trailway has released this huge on holiday beer. And of course, it's I would say that it's a more pine forward beer, given spruce tips. It's not quite the same recipe, I feel, as the regular Huge on hops, but in this case, made with spruce tips. We'll talk more about that here in a second. I'd read some comments. There's 3. Anybody want to volunteer?
3 is too many for you. We got off the 10th asking where the beer patrol. I don't know where the beer patrol is. Doing beer patrol things.
Yeah, I don't know. Joe said either the 13th or the 21st, and that was, or was the 20th next week? 19th.
I mean,
something that could have also come up. Like he's not really in our world as much as he used to be, kind of thing.
So you guys are also glossing over the important point that Joe died many years ago, and Paul's been puppeteering him. And since Paul's here, we can't have Joe at the same time.
He's got to slip into Paul's sock account. If we have Paul here, we don't. Then Joe can't be here.
Paul's still working out the kinks with the animatronics. That's fair enough. And then using a coat hanger to break up some massive bowel movements.
Jesus,
that's
gross.
Good times. Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
All right.
Gotta give good old anal abortions.
Yuck. Okay. On that note, let's go back to Paul. And Paul, can you tell us about your beer?
Oh, this I believe it's an oak aged brown ale.
Ooh.
And it has a little bit of spice and coriander to it, which is nice. It has a nice vinous characteristic, a lot of dark brown bread, a little bit of a burnt caramel tonality that wafts into a nice earthiness. There's a little bit of something that reminds me of a clove in there as well. It mixes in perfectly. Everything's blended. This is 2019, so it's a little drier than it was when it was initially released. A lot of those sugars kind of attenuated, so it's a little bit more of a drier beer. But there's a little bit of like a burnt caramels, burnt sugars, toffee. There's a nice little bit of a prune date fig thing in the background. So for a brown ale, it's quite layered. I wouldn't say it's bombastic because it is a little bit more nuanced now. It's older, it's a little bit drier. But for what it is, it's definitely something that you would just, especially at the end of a nice meal, just sip on for a long time. Pretty good stuff.
All right. I'm assuming you've had it before on a number of occasions.
I've had 2 different bottles over the years, and I've had a fresher bottle, and I haven't had it in a while, and I got it from the same place, so this is the same vintage, and it seems a lot drier than it used to be. But again, I haven't had it for quite a while.
It's a few years older too, right? It's a 2019 bottle, he said, didn't he?
Yeah,
it might have aged.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty. So thank you, Paul.
This bottle was only $6 of the American dollars.
Bastards. They'd probably want like 20 plus for something like that here. Alrighty.
20 American.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Let's let Redbeard follow up that almost Ashley Sexton-like performance from Paul.
Are we doing our shit right now? I thought we were just giving our history.
Not really. Now. We're just doing our history right now. But
Paul just ruined the flow of everything. No, I just.
Oh yeah, sure. Hate on Paul.
I have had a can of this. I did a review of it a week ago or so, and that's. I want to say they released it in bottles. I think at least once. Like, this isn't a new beer from Muskoka, I don't think. But I don't know if I had it before, if it was in a bottle. But it's I'm the can's empty now, so it's going down pretty. A little tiny tasting note thing, why not? There's zero hint at all. This is 9%. This
sounds like a dangerous beer.
Yeah, it's gonna creep up on me, and I haven't eaten a lot today as well, so we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, that's how I roll too.
All right.
Oh, randomly, everybody, smash the like button.
Smash the like button.
Masturbate the video.
Smash that like button. Get YouTube's algorithm. Tickle the balls of YouTube's algorithm a little bit.
There we go. Yeah. Like. I'm second like.
That video. All right. So thank you, Carrie. Let's go over to the Fuzzmeister. All right. So
good day.
I know your history with Moosehead, but what's your history? You said you tried this one already, and did they make it last year? Or what? Tell us.
No, they didn't. They did not make it last year. I don't think they did. My history with this beer, I had it this afternoon. So we usually, I usually take out my department for Beer 30. Beer 30 is my department's 30-minute beer expose down to the small batch brewery, where I tried this this lager with candy cane in it, and like I said, at the brewery they put cream cheese frosting around the rim, and then sprinkle crushed candy canes on top, and then fill up your glass with this candy cane.
Did you try it without the? Oh, you already tried it. Yeah, never mind. Sorry.
So
just gonna ask a question. It was a dumb question.
It's okay. I just got it in a growler and decided to review it for tonight. And I don't have the cream cheese frosting, nor do they have the crushed candy cane. So it's just drinking it straight like a regular beer.
Yeah, that was my question. I was gonna say, what does it taste without that? And I'm like, oh shit, you're drinking it now. Sorry, because I thought you maybe tried it then without it too. And I'm like, oh, he's drinking it right now, you idiot.
And I'll go, I won't spoil the tasting flavor profile, but my past experiences with Moosehead, I work there, and so I've tried almost everything they have so far.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Scott. Let's go over to Greg, who I know has tried almost everything GLB has.
This is actually my first GLB ever, and I'm enjoying it. I'm going to try out this little upstart brewery. I hear that Hayes Mama beer is apparently pretty good. My history with this beer is I poured it right to this line, and now I'm at this line. So that's my history and progress of this beer, because this is one of the rare beers. Actually, it's funny because they do bring out new beers, but it's rare they bring out a completely new beer that has never been released before. And this one, as far as I can tell, it's never been released before, even under a different name. So unless it's something I'm not aware of. So complete groundbreaking history moment. Big Dick energy. I mean, Big Nick energy. There we go.
You know, it's really kind of sad that you're saying stuff like, oh, this is the first time that, in a long time, that GLB is introduced to new beer. Remember when they used to make a new beer, like, every few weeks?
Well, the problem is now they have so many new beers. I shouldn't say that. They do introduce new beers, but, like, oftentimes they're rebrands or something like that. I mean, they do come out with completely new ones. Maybe once every month or so, they might come out with a brand new beer, or once every 2 months, something like that. I mean, more so in the summer because they like to do stuff with IPAs. But the thing is, they have so many rotating beers now that it's just like, hey, you know that beer that we brought out last year that you like? Now we're gonna bring it out again. So they have more than enough beers to keep me satisfied. I do wish though one thing I do wish though is they're not very good at bringing out like really big imperial stouts, and I wish they'd do more of that.
Yeah, considering the number that they have, that they've done really well.
Yeah, like the Imperial Bout, they only brought out once, and that was probably the best coffee stout I've ever had. Now, that was like 6 or 7 years ago.
What was that one called? The coffee, there was like a cold brew coffee stout there or something did. And I remember getting a bottle of it when I was up there, and I fucking loved it. Was it Beatrix or... Beatrix, wasn't it?
Oh, you're thinking Beatrix Coffee Porter. Yeah, they that one they bring out every once in a while. They'll probably bring it out in the next few months.
They had a decent series called Harry Porter as well. There's a few really tasty beers in there.
I think that's what Beatrix was. It was just a coffee Harry Porter.
Harry Porter is more like a light. Like Beatrix, I think was 7 or 8%. Harry Porter, I think, is like their 5%.
Beatrix is a Baltic Porter, wasn't it? So it was like higher ABV.
Yeah, you're right. Though it was a coffee cold brew coffee Baltic Porter, which is
that's pretty good. The only problem is I think last batch they came out with, which was probably like February last year. I think they leaned a little bit too much into sweetness for my taste. Like they had way too much vanilla in it. But yeah, the first couple batches that were amazing, and last couple not so much. But as someone who likes sweet beer, like our good friend Dan would have loved it because it just you drink it, you're like, oh, diabetes.
So it is a diabetes. All right, thanks, Greg. Right. All right. So talking about my Trailway, everybody knows I've been a big fan of Trailway pretty much since they opened. I've tried every variation of Hujon, the double dry hop versions, the normal version, Hujon hops, the green can, Hujon hops light, Hujon hops salt. His sneeze. That's good timing, isn't it? All right. So without going into too much detail, of course, I've been a big fan of the Hujon series, and last year when they launched Hujon Holiday, it was so popular that I think I only got like one can of it before it completely sold out. They didn't make as much last year. This year they've brewed enough that it's available in I think most of the NAL stores across the province, and it's already pretty low on stock too. So. Yeah, but it's
You're low on stock.
Yeah, I am a low.
Huge on stock.
Huge on stock, John. Yeah. Anyway, so I feel like this is a more pine forward version of Hujon. I'll get into the flavor notes later, but to go with the spruce tips. But for the most part, pretty much all of the Hujons have the same kind of character, where they're like that kind of like mild hazy, almost New England style IPA, fact from the infancy of that style. And they've come up with variations of it that have all generally been pretty good. And I'll get into whether this is an exception later or not. But anyway, the only comment that we've got so far is Lee Russell asking what's next week's beer. And I think I put in the comments, the doobly-doo below the video that...
The doobly-doo?
No, I didn't. Okay, well, anyway, I'll reveal what next week's beer is. But it's not going to be a big surprise. All right, so I guess we could just sit here and talk amongst ourselves here, unless people are ready to give our thoughts.
Good to go, whatever.
I'm good to give my thoughts.
He just needs to give us ratings at this point.
I can give you some more.
We always love more.
Let's hear more. Let's hear more.
Yeah, I mean,
Ember is armed wide.
Ever since Ashley Sexton died in that tragic potato fire, we've been looking to fill the void.
I just see the one part in Pet Sematary Part 2 where the girl and the kid run into the back of the potato truck when you just said that, and the potatoes are all through the.
It's always shocking to people when they learn that napalm is potatoes.
Smell the potatoes in the morning. So anyway, it's interesting. You have nothing against your beer, obviously, the Hujon series, but I had over here. I just bought it just recently. I drank all 4 of them, but I had a triple IPA that was 11.5, nice low ABV IPA. 11.5 triple IPA from New Trail Brewing Company called Ugly Sweater.
Oh yeah,
and of course that was the Christmas Ugly Sweater. I do not believe that IPAs are a holiday beer. I hate the fact that there's so many brewing companies pushing out IPAs for the holidays just because they refuse to even try other styles. I'm not talking about Hujon, obviously, in this rant. They made a Snickerdoodle IPA, a double IPA. They made a eggnog IPA. I'm like, come on, guys, you can do other, because New Trail just seems to only want to do IPAs all the time. Just IPA, double IPA. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Come on.
And also kind of like what Greg, also as Greg said too, is they are releasing beer almost every week. Every 2 weeks there's a new beer. Now I'm starting to see, as Greg said, a lot of beers that were out last year, or the year before that, they're just coming out again. They're almost like falling into the same thing as Great Lakes as well.
Well, after a while, you get to the point where it's like, hey, I love this beer. Why don't you guys release it every year? And you get enough of those popular beers, and they're like, well, now we can only make so many new ones because everyone loves our old ones.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, too, every other 2 weeks now, they have another IPA or double IPA out. You can only make so many before, and this is the big problem with New Trail. One of the reasons why I didn't bring it on here, I like to actually bring a different beer on every time I show up from a different brewing company. But one is, New Trail, they start, after a while, you start getting samey. You can only make so many double IPAs. I understand that the hop characters are different to a certain degree, but for fuck's sake, guys. You know what I mean? But anyway,
this beer in general, really.
Well, good. I mean, I guess to a certain degree, yeah. Depending on what style you make, if you branch out so far, so many times to the same style, you're going to come full circle and things are starting to probably tasting a little samey. This beer is interesting. I'm glad to bring Lost Abbey to the channel. Yeah. I have a different brewing company for next week as well.
Everyone sounds like it really reminds me of like was it Delirium Noel or Delirium Christmas?
Oh yeah, there was a Valdu Christmas ale that was very nice. I was actually going to pick up, but they sold out of that. They still had this one, so I picked this one up. But for the price, I can't complain at all. It's a nice brown ale. Brown ales are traditionally a little boring. We all know brown ales. But this one's 8.5 a little bit, so it's a little bit kicked up. It has a little bit of a vinous quality because that would be a little bit of the age showing up, but it has it kind of works with the beer. It has a beautiful tannic note, so it almost gives you an oaky barrel character wafting in there. So it's almost like a white wine, slight white wine or red wine vinous age, almost like a Malbec or something like that wafting through there, mixing in with the nice burnt sugars, burnt caramels, that walnut husk kind of vibe. But it gives you that barrel aged character when it's not. Beautiful little burnt caramels in there, actual sweet caramel still, even though it's old. Has a little bit of that brown bread, toasted brown pumpernickel vibe, mixing with a bit of clove and a little bit of coriander, so it kind of gives you a little bit of that spice, but not aggressive. You know what I mean? That spice is there, a little bit of that nutmeg too, but it's not anything near abrasive. It's more just natural yeast flavors, natural malt flavors, and a little bit of that age kind of bringing this to a forefront. It's very cohesive. Shout out to Joe. It goes down to a nice earthy metallic kind of copper coin tonality in there, but it's the pillowiness of this head is awesome. The body's a bit thin, so it's not an amazing body, but the head's so creamy too. It kind of accentuates everything a little bit out nice, and it just kind of goes down like a dream. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the beer. It's still aging really nice, and I definitely have this one again.
Did you say
I don't know if
aged
you want
this
a
one a
rating
couple
now
years?
or. This one was a fresh off the shelf, but it is from 2019.
Okay.
Yes, it is not. It is not. It is
fresh
not
shelf turd.
a fresh beer by any
And it
stretch.
held well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, I definitely buy more of this, and if I did have a couple of these, I'd age these for a few more years as well. So I'm really impressed overall by this. And overall, I'm not going to give it the highest score in the world. But I'm going to throw it just in the solid ass. I mean, for the brown ale too, I think it's really great. I'm just going to throw it in a solid 8.5 overall on both scores for me.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
for that, I probably would have picked up a few extra, put it in your cellar, and wait till years go.
At $6,
go by.
definitely.
Yeah.
That's $6.
Well,
and that's a big bottle too, right?
Yeah, it's a 750. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing is I drive by it when I leave work now. So that place, this is the place that I've been going for a long time. I was getting Corbinians from Weinheim Stefaner for like $3.99 a bottle, but they were from like 2008.
Oh, dude.
You know, I was just grabbing all of them I could and just like, this is amazing. Like, it's drinking all this old beer is fantastic.
Some beer is made to be consumed quite early. Mostly all the Moosehead products is made to be consumed within the year. But there's very, very few of them that will hold. There's a few of them that you can buy and hold, and this sounds like one of them that you would buy a 6-pack
this
of,
is great.
and then just hold it off and drink one a year and see how it ages throughout.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is nice to really almost like take the beer by the hand and walk with it, especially if you got like a 6-pack of something, and then you could actually walk with it through those years and see how it changes and develops. Yeah. And that's kind of the joy and fun of the beer reviewing thing. That's one of the reasons why I just love doing it. You know what I mean? That's one of the things that is so nice about it.
Cool.
All right.
Very good.
And meeting great people like Redbeard.
Yep.
I'm not sure not sure those two words go together.
Fuck you, Moosehead boy.
Mm-hmm.
What, red and beard don't go together?
Well, someday Redbeard and Paul will meet.
Yeah, one of these days.
All right, thank you, Paul. Let's.
How's your beer?
How's your beer, Redbeard?
Nanaimo Bari. Like,
not a lot of carbonation in that.
Now, what if you're someone like me who's never had a Nanaimo
What
bar?
is that, by the way?
This is Muskoka Brewery's Nanaimo Bar Imperial Porter.
What's a Nanaimo Bar?
If you never had a Nanaimo Bar, I believe it originated on the West Coast. It's basically
in Nanaimo, BC.
There you go. It's a dessert treat that's basically got like kind of a chocolatey, coconut-infused base to it. And then there's a layer of some kind of like cream, kind of like Boston cream type.
Cream, yeah.
Yeah, and then the top with, and then chocolate on top. And this has got kind of all that going on. Is like the chocolatey, coconutty, nice bit of a mouthfeel to it.
Yep. Now that's a Christmas? That's like a holiday Christmas thing where they come out.
That
you
depends on where they're definitely
get them year round, but they're especially for Christmas.
They're a bit more of a holiday treat for sure, but yeah, they like it's pretty good. Like again, is
it smooth?
It's very smooth. The 9% is not even smooth. You never know. It's got a bit of like kind of a bit of maybe a tinny kind of something like artificial-ish going on.
Wow.
Oh
yeah.
Bars. Like the ingredients list natural flavors. Whatever that, I'm assuming something is just kind of. But overall, it works very well, nicely balanced, and like
I wouldn't have put the Nanaimo Bar part in anything but a porter.
It could easily be done with an imperial stout or something.
Okay, but I would think an imperial stout would have been a little bit more spicy. You want it smooth.
If you do it right, you could make it. But yeah, this for what it is,
yeah.
I'm gonna go 9 for the style. I think they did a really, really good job of replicating a narrow bar in a beer, and personal enjoyment. 8. It honestly is, like what Greg was saying about the whatever other beer there. This is pretty freaking sweet. So like, and especially drinking this much of like, it's not as bad. I want to say the sweetest beer I ever had was the Prodromus, I think, from Omnipolo. If you remember that one, it was like the weird. That was like just almost like drinking a can of maple syrup. It was so sweet. But this is, I wouldn't want to drink more than one. You know, but
like in a novel bar, you probably want 1 or 2, but no more.
All right.
I'd probably only have 1 for sure. But
so you gave that a 9 and an 8, right?
Indeed, I did.
And I should also mention too, because I think Scott's interested. That beer, there's currently 8 bottles of that sitting at East Point liquor store right now.
8 bottles.
8 bottles.
8 cans.
750 ml bottles at East Point St. John.
Ooh.
They're $15 each.
Yeah, you're talking.
But would that be last year's version or something? I don't think they released this year's in cans.
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering, because I know it was last year in bottles, so I'm wondering if it's like leftover stock.
They're probably just hanging on to it and hoping you buy it, and hey, it's aged now. So.
One case of it they forgot the back of the warehouse.
This would easily last a little bit aged. I prefer to age it in a can.
Here's the cool.
It would be interesting to see. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the flavor developed over a year.
All right. So,
but with a cork, if it's cork and cage, you might get a little bit more active something in there that could dry it out a little bit better. So it would take away some of that sweetness. So maybe it might be a little.
Well, it's not cork and cage; it's just a crown cap, not a cork.
Sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
It's a pour. It's not super carbonated, so they probably didn't have any need to go that extreme with it. Like. Yeah, this wouldn't explode when you pop it open at all.
All right.
Duly noted.
Let's go to Scott.
I think I'll go out. Duly noted. I think I will go out east and pick one of them up.
Yeah, let me know how you make out.
Super interested in that beer.
Usually with his tongue.
It's pretty good.
Jesus.
So what I did was I picked up a moose lager with candy cane flavor in it.
Oreos here.
Again,
what I suspect they did in the brewing process was take a moose lager batch, divert it to the small batch, and before it was completely cooked, added the candy cane syrup flavor to it, and then cooked the rest of it up. It is definitely a small batch, so it's not.
Did they add candy cane puree?
They probably have a candy cane flavor that they put into the beer, or they mixed a mint flavor with a candy cane kind of spice, because it is very minty flavored. It's a very minty forward flavored.
They just dumped a couple bottles of Listerine in there.
No, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
Scope.
Scope.
But you can definitely.
If you use the stuff with alcohol,
Listerine's a little out of their scope.
That's how they bumped up the ABV. They used the old stuff with alcohol.
It's like Listerine fortified beer.
There you go.
It's for the bums.
Sorry, it's a little out of your scope.
It's sorry. Very the flavor is very on the tip of your tongue when you drink it, and then
switch it around.
The middle part of your drink is, you can taste it's a lager. It's a lager's a very sugar forward beer. It's it doesn't have that pine taste in it, and then at the end is where you get the mint flavor. They get the spicy peppermint flavor of the brew. It's a little bit darker than what you would normally get in a lager, and it's a little bit higher ABV. So I mean, it sounds like they almost cook it a little bit longer, because the longer you cook it, the higher ABV you're going to get. Just because it burns away more of the water, right, and leaves more of the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like they took the 5% ABV lager as a finished product, put this in, and cooked it a little bit longer, and that's why your higher ABV is in there. I'm glad I got it in a growler, and I will drink probably all of it tonight, and that'll be the end of it. I probably won't drink it again.
Yeah.
So, as for style, I'm going to give it a 7. I don't think it doesn't really hit the holiday flavor exactly on the head, and it doesn't really hit the lager flavor on the head. So I'm going to give it a 7. For personal enjoyment, I'm going to give it an 8, because although very good, and I'll probably, I might get it in the brewery again. I'm excited to try a few other drinks this holiday season, specifically the East Point. I'll go out to East Point and get the Enamel Bar. Later on next week, I'll see if I can bring in the fruitcake. And then I want to try the IPA with cranberry infused IPA.
Oh, that's what it was.
Cranberry infused sparkling IPA. So there's so many good holiday beers out there that I want to try them over another one of these. So although I like it, I want to broaden my horizons this summer.
There we go.
This season.
I gotta mention, I could, after a few of these, I could have the courage to jump in a plane and fly into a Twin Tower.
Jesus Christ!
All right.
Have fun.
Yeah, the orange cranberry ale. That's the one that was the orange one at.
Yes, the orange cranberry. So so that's not quite a. I've had the orange cranberry. I did that last week. It was okay. This is better than that.
So you gave it a 7 for style. What did you give this one for rating?
7 for style, 8 for enjoyment.
All right.
But yes, I'm assuming they take the cranberry part of the orange cranberry and mix it with the sparkling IPA they have on tap, which is another delicious beer. But
yeah, I got to get in there and then get some of that sparkling IPA, because that, when it was on tap originally, that was like my go-to beer after bike rides. It was just so and a nice light IPA, so refreshing. Anyway.
Yep. And so I'm assuming they take the cranberry juice mix and put it into that for their New Year's cranberry IPA.
Yeah.
So, but yes, the orange cranberry, I don't know why it just didn't fly, but and this flies better than that did. But again, try it when you go in. Let me know when you go in. I might be able to be in there while you're there. But unless you go on a Saturday, and I'm like, fuck that. I go there 5 days a week. I don't want to go there again another day. So like the orange cranberry was good. This is better.
Nice.
Just seeing your horizons for
going back to the sparkling IPA. It was cold condition on white wine yeast with Nelson Sauvin hops. There you go. All right. Okay. Thank you, Scott. Let's go to Greg.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Hi, Greg.
So,
Big Greg energy.
Big Greg energy.
No, Big Nick energy. There's no Big Greg energy.
Big Greg dick.
If there's a place I can buy a Big Greg energy shirt, you let me know and I'll buy it. So I'll say this beer is doing its job.
It's called eBay.
My wife will make you one on Etsy.
There's lots of places that.
There you go.
That's nice. I appreciate that your wife will do that for me.
There's lots of sites that'll make you a custom shirt.
Yeah, I know, but I'm really not. I'm really not committed to this. I probably wouldn't have bought this if my wife didn't buy it for me. So there you go. I'm very non-committal with clothing. I'm just like, I'll wear the shirts I have for free that may or may not have holes in them. Anyway, enough about my lifestyle. Beer. So let's go through this beer. Let's discuss what it has and doesn't have. Well, I'm assuming they're not lying. So it has coffee, cherry, vanilla, and cinnamon. Do I taste cinnamon? Nah, I don't. Which is okay. I don't really like cinnamon that much, so I'm okay with not having it. Does it have vanilla in it? I find vanilla tends to make beer way too sweet. Do I taste vanilla in this? No, not really. Can't say I do. Do I taste cherry? If the cherry, like this, tastes like I'm sucking a sour cherry dick. That's what this beer tastes like.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't actually necessarily mean that as a bad. I don't necessarily mean that as a bad thing. I'm just saying this beer is incredibly. Like, of all the flavors, the tart cherry is what comes out most in this beer. And it's not that this beer is even that tart, but it's more so than you would expect. Like, I thought it would have been more of a mix. It's basically like, this beer is tart cherry as fuck, and then you got kind of the coffee backing it up. Like, kind of the coffee's back there. More so on the end of it, you kind of get that coffee bitterness as well. So this beer is kind of tart mixed with bitterness. So it's not bad. It's not bad. If as long as you don't hate cherry, you probably will be okay with this beer. If you really hate cherry, I was trying to kind of liken this to something. And if you ever had a Black Forest cake, okay, now imagine a Black Forest cake, yet somehow you take away all the sweetness from it. It's just the raw flavors of it, but there's nothing sweet about it. No whipping cream, no nothing. Just the raw flavors of the cherry, a little bit of the coffee. That's kind of what this beer is in liquid form.
Is it dry?
Disappointing.
Yeah. Like, the thing about Black Forest cake is the extra flavor, is the frosting, is the, like, if it had nuts in it or whatever, right? Is the extras. And when you say, hey, this is like the Black Forest cake, but without the sparkle, it kind of...
Well, I mean, when you say dry, are you likening it to like a wine where dry usually kind of means more of a sourish note?
No. Like dry, like if you ever had dry cake,
like not sweet.
You've let out, like lake cake, you've sat out on the counter for 24 hours.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say it's basically just the more, I guess, tart-ish flavors. Like, yeah, imagine like cherries, but you got that cherry syrup or whatever the fuck they put in it. But imagine instead of them fusing the sugar or sweetness, whatever the fuck they put in it, you're just getting this kind of sour cherry. That's kind of what it is with kind of coffee on the background. To be honest, I like this beer. I actually think it's quite good. But I could see, if you don't like those flavors, I could see somebody hating this beer just as easily. So, what am I going to give it for personal enjoyment? Oh, well, let's see. For style. So what am I just rating this as a general porter?
I guess.
I mean, let's be honest. Most porters suck. Most porters suck. Most porters just kind of wish they were stouts. So, as a porter, you know what? I'm gonna go both. I'm gonna go an 8 and an 8 for both style and personal enjoyment. I think it's a pretty solid beer.
That's weird.
8 and 8.
Why is that weird?
That's good.
Why is it weird?
Well, you just said you're reading off all the stuff it had. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have this. It's not like that. It's not. And then you gave it an 8 for style. And I went, what the fuck? It's fine. I mean, you give your own thing. It's cool.
I'm not basing it style as a vanilla porter or as a cinnamon porter or as a thing. I'm basing it overall. I basically rated it just as a porter because frankly I haven't had enough porters or or flavored porters to really tell the difference. So I'm just going to rate this as a porter, overall porter. And frankly, porters are something I don't like because almost everything I drink as a porter is almost always, this is better if it was a stout and if it was imperial. So that's probably why it maybe is getting, you think, maybe a little too high of a rating, and that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but that would be my justification for giving it a fairly high rating. I'm not rating it based on does it have the flavors on there, because no, it doesn't. But that's not where my rating's coming from. And personal enjoyment is I do like a beer that's tart but not too tart. That's kind of where this is going at, and I like that it has kind of the coffee backing it up. And to me, it's an interesting mix. Like I say, I could see somebody hating this beer if these flavors don't work for you. I could absolutely see somebody like drain pouring this, but for me, it works well enough. I'm glad I don't taste the vanilla. I'm glad I don't taste the cinnamon, because I don't really love those flavors in beer, generally speaking. So for me, it's an 8. It's nothing amazing, but if I could, I don't know if they still have any more of this, but I could see myself buying another can or two of this. Although I won't, because I don't want any of my money going to charity.
Good job.
Jesus, those fucking people looking for handouts.
Yeah,
get a fucking job.
Yeah, this coming
Greg,
from the guy that volunteers his.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, but this is coming from the guy who volunteers his dick to every person he meets. So you like charity, Greg?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
He's all for donations, donating his cock.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure if bagging someone is necessarily volunteering my dick. I mean, sure, why not? Listen. If you want to paint me as some sort of big Nicholas character who gives to the needy, then
You're
sure,
fat
why
and
not?
jolly.
Well, I'm getting there.
Yeah, you sold your bike trainer too.
I'm gonna fill out. Yeah, it's because I want to get bigger. So I'm gonna get bigger here, and I'll get bigger here too. I'll be just all around bigger.
Anyway.
I'll need this XL shirt.
All right, so
I just wish I could train my cock to get bigger.
Jesus. All right, my turn. Okay, so I don't really have a whole lot left of the Trailway Huge on hops here. Like I mentioned before a couple times, it's definitely more pine forward than your typical Huge on hops. It plays really well that way into the spruce tips that comes with it, and you do definitely get the flavor of the spruce tips. It's not just a little bit of spruce tips; it's quite a bit. It's almost like Christmas tree in your mouth kind of thing going on. You get this definitely like piney, sprucey kind of taste. Little hint of citrus and passion fruit with a bit of tangerine in there. But it's definitely almost like spruce dominant. There's a lingering like sap gum and like not fake Christmas tree, but it's kind of got almost like that pine tree air freshener in your car kind of flavoring. I don't know if you've ever had like taken a walk through the woods in the eastern seaboard or something, and then put your hand on a spruce tree or something, or if you've like maybe in the spring you smelled the smell of when the shoots are actually growing on the trees, or for spruce trees. You get that kind of smell in the air of spruce. So it is a really good spruce IPA. And I know that like Picaroon's made a spruce tip IPA before years ago, but Trailway just does it better. I'd say
really, if I wanted that kind of taste, I'd look at air freshener.
Well, here's the thing. I was thinking, like, if you like pine forward IPAs, you're probably gonna love this. But I know Scott, you hate pine forward stuff. It tastes like poison. I figure you're gonna hate this, but I think if you like piney IPAs, this is a fairly decent beer and a unique flavor experience when it comes to something kind of holiday with the spruce tips. Like that does what it says it does. I'm gonna give it a 9 for style and 8.5 for personal enjoyment. I really like this beer.
I mean, like, I've had a Who John's hops before, and it wasn't that bad. But are you saying this is more pine forward?
Oh yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. It's a holiday beer made with spruce tips
in it.
Yeah. Like they harvested the tips off
spruce.
the fresh spruce tip shoots off of the front some spruce trees, and then brewed the beer.
There's a beer from Dogfish Head that comes out every year called Pennsylvania Tuxedo, and it's locally harvested Pennsylvania maple syrup and Pennsylvania spruce tips put into, I believe it's an IPA base. I haven't seen it, but every time I've ever had it, it's always been amazing. So if I see it again, I'll definitely buy some.
If Lee were here, he'd probably talk about how Garrison makes a spruce beer, or at least they used to. I don't know when the last time they made it, but Garrison in Halifax makes a spruce beer.
It would be nice if he was here, but he's not.
Yeah, I know.
Where is he?
Couldn't get a beer for tonight.
He didn't have a beer that was holiday enough, and even though we tried to convince him to come on with whatever he had, he's a stickler for the rules.
There you go.
I like rules. I like principles.
Right.
Well, he's got those principles.
All right, so now that we have that in the bag, let's go around the circle again and say, Paul, of all the beers you heard here tonight,
hi,
which one would you rather have had, or would you like to have tried?
Okay, I have 4 choices to make. They're hard choices, so let's go. Nick has a West Coast IPA that could get brewed anytime by many brewing companies, so not Nick. Greg has a sour cherry bullshit porter that doesn't have any of the flavors it's supposed to have, so not Greg. And he's got a Moosehead product that's just Moosehead with a bunch of extracts, so not Scott. And I'm going with me. No, I'm going with Greg. I'm done with Redbeard.
Yeah.
That's it. There it is. No, Redbeard's the one. Redbeard.
I was teased.
I keep on want to say it's Nakatomi Tower beer, but it's not. I can't. What's it called?
Nanaimo Bar.
Nanaimo Tower. Nanaimo.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, Nanaimo Bar.
Tower.
Yeah. Nakatomi Tower beer. Yeah, it does sound really good.
You got to knock Hans Gruber off that Nanaimo Tower.
Absolutely. I'm going with Redbeard on this one. It does sound definitely delicious. I like the ABV. What was your ABV? 9%?
9%.
9%. That's always good. A little bit low for my standards, but still pretty good. And actually, a 750 cork and caged would be something I would definitely buy a couple of those and age and see how they go. So it's all of that kind of just rates it up to a very interesting beer for me.
$7.50, $14.99 Canadian. Right. That's pretty close to $6 American. So
yeah, there you go.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Let's go to the beer and say, of all the beers you heard here tonight, which one would you like to have tried?
Paul's.
Yay!
It sounds kind of more unique and weird and interesting, and just something I would like to stick my tongue into.
There you go.
All right. Let's roll over to the fuzz. And the fuzz, of all the beers you heard here tonight, carries.
Yeah. Like I'm going to go get one before.
He said that before this even started.
Yeah. I love Nanaimo bars. Like, it's one of my favorite Christmas.
Yeah, you should probably go try it. It was pretty tasty.
You know what the hell that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
It's one of my favorite.
I need
Christmas
to find one.
Coconut chocolate vanilla.
So, I've never had one. I probably should have one at some point.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Let's go over to the Greg. Take us home, Greg. What's of all the beers you heard here tonight, which one would you have liked to have tried?
Well, we can go through the beers again. We'll go through Paul's style. So, Carrie's, I will try Carrie's one at some point if I can get it. I've tried their Nanaimo bar thing. I doubt it's changed all that much, but it sounds way too sweet for me. From what I remember, it is way too sweet. So, but if I'll grab a can if I can. Scott's beer sounds very interesting, but again, Moosehead. So, I feel with Moosehead you could get one. You could go one way or the other. Moosehead can make some surprisingly good beers, or they can make some bullshit beers. I'd be very curious where it does. I mean, Paul. Well, fuck Paul, so don't worry about Paul. So I'm picking Nick.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nick.
I mean, Nick's beer just sounds. It does sound like it's probably. Now, to be fair to what Paul said earlier, I do feel Nick's beer is probably more similar to an American IPA profile, so it's probably less interesting in the U.S. But here, there aren't nearly fucking enough pine beers anymore because everyone wants to make hazy bullshit. So this sounds like a fucking.
You're right.
Slap. This sounds like a pine slap in the face. So that's what I'd like to have.
You're not wrong. You're not even wrong for America. Most people make hazy IPAs. It's very rare you find a nice pine forward West Coast IPA.
So
but at the same time, they can be brewed all year long. So it's kind of interesting that they just do it for the season of the reason.
Yeah, I mean they probably should be. And I mean, to be honest, Paul's Brown Ale sounds pretty interesting too. But I'm always up for a pine forward IPA.
Right.
Since when I go to nowadays when I go to the LCBO shelf, there's like 3-4 beers that I like, IPAs that I want to go to. It's usually Bone Shaker. What's the other one? Headstock if they have it. And that's about it. Like I think there might be 1 or 2 others that I'm missing, but like there's not a whole lot that I can go through if I want that.
I mean, tell you what, I'd probably kill the shit out of that. Huge on holiday, I'd kill the shit out of that. Because I love pine forward beers, especially spruce chips. Good God.
But you're just beer that Guy had a couple times where like Guy loves it more than anything else in the world. Some spruce tip beer.
Oh, it's that one from Vistawa, isn't it? New Brunswick. It's like Gabrielle.
Yeah, can't remember.
I forget. It was like a cork and cage bottle from New Brunswick, I think.
That's no, Guy's thing was in a can.
Oh, it was like it was something he gets locally. I can't remember what it was called. Isn't that the one that he brought the time that he did non-alcoholic beers?
Yes, he did.
Well, that's the thing with me is I can get this Pennsylvania Tuxedo Local, so as soon as I get it, I'm going to buy the shit out of it because it is good. Spruce tips in a beer. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Nick, because it's a good time.
Nice. All right, so let's go to what I would have liked to have tried, and I'll count down the beers as well. So Paul's, kind of like a Belgian style, Abbey style, kind of a corked and caged aged beer. That sounds really good. When we look at the other ones, the Nanaimo Bar Imperial Porter, good beer. Had it before though. Moosehead Candy Cane Lager, I could probably pass on that. Now that I've heard Scott's description, GLB Festive Porter. Sounds a little boring to me, to be honest. What was that you made some weird joke about tasting like oats? I don't know. And
you said Scott's inscription. It was weird.
I don't know. I think I had 2 thoughts going through my brain at once, and they both crashed into each other.
You wouldn't want to try. You wouldn't want to try the candy cane.
I'd try it, but I wouldn't want to go to the trouble of spending $10 to buy an entire can of it.
I'd like to try your.
No, they didn't can it. They're not canning it.
Yeah. And I'd probably go to the brewery and try a sample of it. Which I might do.
Nick's gonna bust out a special edition of the Saturday bike ride just to go.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't. I would recommend you don't do that. I would recommend that you try the full glass because they will do the. They will do the.
I can't
rim.
Do that on my lunch break.
You'll get a rim job for it.
Get a rim job. All right, so. Looking at all the options, I can't vote for myself. I wouldn't anyway. Balls beer. That sounds amazing. All right, so as far as the votes go, you got 2 for Paul, 2 for Redbeard, and 1 for me. And so that means that we're stuck. We're at an impasse here. Who voted for me?
We need at least one comment.
Need
Somebody
one
in the comments.
more. Lee Russell, if you're in the chat, vote for the one you want.
Lee, vote for me.
In the meantime, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to put Redbeard on the screen here. Let's read some of the comments we got.
Okay.
All right. I believe we left off at potato fires are the worst. They blaze up pretty fast.
Yeah.
And try our Candy Cane Double Chocolate Dry Hop Brute IPA. That
tasty.
sounds fucking horrifying. At this point, English mild feels more like beer. Picture ye old England fuckers in a Christmas carol.
It's always that British white savior race shit.
Justin coming in saying my comments regarding the mouthwash makes him think I might be an actual St. Johnner. Thoughts on wearing denim jacket and pajama pants? I don't think I've ever had a denim jacket. I wear my pajama pants like out to walk the dog when it's like late at night and fucking whatever. I'm just like taking them down the street. And then Greg yeah, Walmart shoppers everywhere are just potentially weird people. And
they're not
apparently I'm trying to be an edgelord. But... I was just trying to... I meant to do it. I thought about it earlier today when I was going back to walking the dog. Remembering how last week I randomly threw the 9/11 reference into my review. And I was like, I want to do it again, but I forgot to do it during the reviews. That's why it happened afterwards. I failed myself right there. And then me and Lee said some stupid things. And then fucking the charity, that was as far as the Greg's penis charity, I believe, going as far back to that.
There we go.
And then Lee commented on, I believe during my beer, because Nakatomi Tower, Paul was saying, where he cuts his feet in the tower and instantly gets diabetes.
Jesus.
And then he voted for Paul, which I am shocked. I'm shocked that Lee didn't vote for me. I'm blown away.
It might have been the spat that you got into in the chat, too.
All right. Yeah.
Just
anyway, so Lee did also ask the magic question of what's next week's beer, and the same thing. We're doing 2 weeks of Christmas beers in a row.
No, this is full scale Christmas next week. Full scale.
Full scale Christmas.
Tonight was like winter warmers. That's what that was in my mind. Winter warmer beer.
This is the warm up to next week.
Next week is full on Christmas.
But the criteria is the same. The criteria is the same.
Do you have the beer with you already?
I'm just going to show mine. Technically, everybody could basically just bring the. It's kind of funny. Oh,
it's a Christmas tree IPA. Anyway, another beer with spruce tips. All right. Okay, so yeah, Paul is declared the winner of tonight's episode. So congratulations, Paul.
And he walked away.
He walked away.
The final comment. Lee wasn't listening. Didn't even know I was in contention. Just voted Paul by default. Fuck you. Fucking.
Santa's little helper. Ooh,
they got Port Brewing's Santa's Little Helper. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna look to see what else I can get, but default
9.9% alcohol by volume.
I have no idea what I'm bringing for next week. I'm gonna scour my local LCBOs and see what we got.
Me and Scott will both show up with that Moosehead fruitcake barley wine, whatever it is.
I mean, that actually sounds fucking amazing.
I bought both of these at the same time for $12.
You should, if you should. Nice. That honestly, that fruitcake barley wine sounds like it would be better than the beer Scott had if you actually used that frosting and candy cane drink glass rimming thing. That would be pretty tasty.
No. I've already tasted the fruitcake barley. Quite good, very good, very strong. The sugars in the candy cane and the frosting would not do well in the fruitcake one.
Again, that's a matter of opinion.
Maybe not candy cane.
I mixed chocolate milk into a barrel-aged imperial stout one time, and it blew my mind. It was so good. I'm sure many other people would.
Remember that time, Scott? You put like ice cream made an ice cream float of an imperial stout.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like I got dislikes on the video from that.
Swiss chalet sauce in his beer.
I've done that.
It's been a long time since Greg Kubied anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say which time because Greg has chaleted up a few beers.
I've done that quite a few times. Sadly, I don't have any chalet sauce with me tonight. But
you know what, right? That's the thing. Greg needs to, not revive. Yeah, he has a YouTube channel, and Will It Chalet Sauce or something would be a pretty funny series.
Will It Chalet?
Will It Chalet?
Yeah, that
doesn't even have to be totally beer. Like you're gonna get some fancy bourbon and put some chalet sauce into the bourbon and fucking.
Will It Chalet?
Like really rare whiskey or rare beer. Like here's this 40-year-old bourbon. Let's try this and with chalet sauce.
Will It Chalet?
Hey man,
and it doesn't have to be a 5-minute video YouTube show. It's just 30 seconds,
shorts,
right?
Just be shorts.
It'd be pretty funny.
The other thing I wish is that Lady Lee lived closer because she could be my co-host and we could just watch her throw up every episode.
Yeah.
Without even having it, she'd just be watching you and throwing up in the background.
Yeah, that's true. We just live stream her watching.
I don't know if she doesn't like chalet sauce or I know that she just was super against watching you mix chalet sauce with stuff. I don't know if she doesn't like chalet. Personally, I'm not a huge chalet sauce fan. Like it's not bad.
I'm indifferent to chalet. So here with Swiss chalet, I always go if I'm going chicken. I love the ribs, but if I'm going chicken, I go dark meat. If that's the case, my sauce kind of sits in the fridge, and I find something else to do with it, as you guys have seen. if it's what I never order white meat, but if for whatever reason I'm stuck with white meat, because occasionally Swiss chalet will run out of dark meat, and they'll be like, "Here's your white meat." I don't like Swiss chalet white meat very much; it's too dry. If I get white meat, then I'll.
I like your beer you just had. Meat.
I know you like the white meat, Nick, but some of us like the darkies.
That's racist.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's racist.
Don't like the darks.
The battalion is next to two. Jesus.
Yeah, I don't like chalet sauce either, but I would watch your channel. Willet Chalet.
Yeah, we need a Greg doing a Willet Chalet challenge.
Well, maybe this is something. This
should be. Remember a few years ago when you did the Sexton jacket challenge? You should do like 12 days of chalet.
Oh shit! Well, I don't have that much chalet.
12 days of chalet.
12 days of chalet. Can't you buy it in the can or something?
Can drink at the
grocery. Can't you buy the chalet sauce in the can at the grocery store?
At one point, you could buy the powder. I'd have to see if you still could or not.
I know you could buy the powder, but I thought you could buy it in the can.
I've never seen it in a can. I've seen it in a little packet that you can, it's powder and you just mix it together.
I like thinking the sauce from like St. Hubert's or something is in the can.
But well, it's interesting. Well, I need to re-release those videos for people who haven't seen them. Those are
Sexton Quest.
I found a video on YouTube that says close to Swiss chalet barbecue sauce recipe.
Maybe those are good mainly because Agnes would just subtitle them insulting me the whole time. That was funny.
Lee Russell's pointed out you literally have 12 days left until Christmas is over with. So you have 12 days left till Christmas. So you have to get started tomorrow. You have to start drinking chalet sauce every day.
Oh shit! Well.
Guess I know where you're going for supper.
Yeah. You
have to get
12 chugs of Christmas.
12 chugs of Christmas. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, my wife would probably not be opposed to like ordering Swiss chalet every like 2 days to get the sauce.
Just to get the sauce.
Well, you should freeze, get extra sauce and then freeze it.
Oh yeah, overpriced. Their festive sandwich at Swiss chalet is stupid overpriced.
So
the sandwich and fries, $23.
Apparently,
Nick is not wrong. They do have a canned version of it.
Yep.
So
they do have Swiss chalet.
You don't need to go to Swiss chalet every time.
They also have a Swiss chalet chicken pot pie and they have a beef pot pie. There we go. They have the dipping sauce in powder form, or they have it in canned form. The canned form seems like a better deal. Because, it's already created for you and it's the same price, whereas the sauce you have to mix. But maybe the sauce makes more. I don't know.
Sorry, maybe have a 25% less salt version.
I don't want 25% less salt.
I would have to say it's almost a decade.
Full effect.
Greg, I think it's over a decade since I've been to Swiss Chalet. That's how long it's been.
Well, that's probably where you last time you were at, I don't know, Rhino Fest?
No, 2013 or 14 is the last time I was at a Swiss Chalet. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
I thought you were at Swiss Chalet at time me and Joe were there. Anyway.
I was going to say, we usually hit up Swiss Chalet after the Rhino Fest at some point.
Yeah. Like last time I went to a Swiss Chalet,
mine was the magic. Mine was the magic flying saucer kokanee epidemic.
Oh, right.
That was great.
I remember.
That was epic when the waitress poured the beer for you, and then sucked you off in the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Without her teeth in.
Well, the gummers are better.
Most of her teeth weren't there to begin with.
We have 5 viewers, by the way, watching this like a train wreck. Just in slow motion.
Oh, look.
And Lee Russell says, "What? Freeze it like sperm or something, Nick? Or is it relating to freezing the chalet sauce?"
No, it's
Now
just
you can buy it in cans, so don't need. You can go to the food bank. It's like your sperm bank, but for chalet sauce.
Chalet. Oh, I'll tell you what though, not everybody can stand someone drinking gravy, because I drank gravy once on a live stream when I was hungry and drunk, and they did not like watching that. It wasn't like a bulldog. It wasn't like a bulldog eating mayonnaise. It wasn't that bad, but at the same time, it was something they just didn't like.
Oh, I got nothing. I don't personally opt to drink gravy on its own, but if you do, it's not really that gross. It's gravy, like whatever.
I think Lee is getting antsy to hang out with us. All
right,
in the after
we're going to take this offline, so I want to thank Lee for being patient in the chat. Who else did we have commenting tonight? I don't think it was just Lee and Justin
Jamie.
Tinker. Was Jamie in the chat? I don't know.
So.
Whoever's watching, Chris was watching earlier, so cheers to him. Anyway, we're taking this offline. We will be back at you next week with more Christmas beers. Talk to you soon.
Penis.
Penis?